Probably pushing my luck by making 2 videos in one day, but I've been wanting to talk about these things. This one is about my feelings about law enforcement and the judiciary. Before I go into this, I need to make one thing absolutely 100% no tomfoolery or monkey fuckery about it, okay? It is never okay to engage in violence with law enforcement or the judiciary. This is not a call to action. There's no action to be had, not in a physical sense. If you don't like the cops or judges, you can always vote for change. We live in an amazing country, and that is what you should do. Okay? This is also not a judgment on individuals in the police force or the judiciary. We are all human beings. We are all just trying to get by. Cops and judges are no different. They're human beings. And like all human beings, they're complicated. So hopefully that disclaimer will be understood. Having said that, I am not a fan of cops, and I am not a fan of our legal system. We'll start with the police. Now, I used to be much more virulent in my dislike of the police. And the context for that is when my ex-wife abruptly decided to withhold the children from me and break our divorce decree. The police were no help to me. They said it's a civil matter. Well, in a nation of laws, my ex and I had set up a divorce decree. If the police aren't going to enforce that, and having access to your children is a God-given right, unless you are abusive, which I never was. If the police aren't going to help me during a time when my rights are being severely infringed upon, then what good are they, honestly? I see cops as having 2 roles. One of them, of course, is revenue, and I don't fault them that. I'm not one of these people who thinks taxation is theft. We need taxes. We need revenue from the police. And I've paid a fair share of that revenue in terms of, like I had a speeding ticket in '89, and about 5 years ago, I had some registration issues with my car. Other than that, that's the only time that I've had some sort of, interaction with the police for the most part. There was a time that young lady who was living with me attacked me. Other than that, I really can't think of anything. So I don't need the cops to, come to my home if I've got an issue. I've got dogs, I've got guns. I can handle my own shit. Don't need them. So if they're not going to protect my basic rights, What use are they to me? They're not. They could stop me on the road for, a bad tag. My only interactions with them are going to be of that kind of a negative nature because I obey the law. And the cops, they're just doing what they've been told. I don't hold it against them when they, give me a ticket for, a bad license, or registration, I should have had my shit together. Cops in general provide a valuable service if you have need of them. Smart people order their lives to where they won't need the police. And always with the cops, I don't care if the guy's a smarmy asshole or the woman or whatever, you respect the badge. Because without cops, our society would fall to shit. There are people out there who would enforce their will on the weak, if not for threat of police action. But I'm not one of those people. On either side of the coin, I don't hurt others, and I will not allow myself to be hurt. So yeah, I see cops mainly as an annoyance, which in no way negates the very important job they do for society. So God bless them. I wish no ill or violence upon the police. And and the same thing is pretty much the same for the judiciary. Judges have hard jobs. To me, it often seems like they're working in sort of an assembly line, just one criminal after another. We only have so much jail space. They have to make hard decisions. But again, the judiciary was not there for me, and when I was fighting for my children. I had scumbag lawyers, which I guess is on me. I read the Google reviews and thought that, okay, because I've gone to court for my kids twice. And unfortunately, I guess I'm just not very smart, or I'm easily fooled or something, because I got taken twice. That's not the judiciary. The judiciary's primary job should be to protect the citizenry from legal or cultural overreach. My sons are growing up, without their father because of cultural overreach. Which, when you have cultural overreach, you have inevitably legal overreach. Now, just to be clear to anybody who is watching this video for the first time, is unfamiliar with me, I never once hit my children, yelled at my children, threatened my children, withheld resources from my children. They never went hungry, never went without, had pianos and acting lessons and shit like that. That is not to say that I was the perfect father. I sure as shit wasn't. For about 2 years there, I was really a bad husband and a bad father. However, keeping all that in mind, I should not have been denied my children. If I am violent, show me the victim. Show me the person I hurt. You can't, because that's not who I am. My ex-wife loved to play the he's violent card, but then always had to drop the restraining orders or what have you, because there's no evidence of it. Never once hit my wife. Never once hit my kids. Never once threatened or cussed them, any of them. My sins were of a different nature. And while I'm not trying to downplay them, I will state unequivocally that they were not as egregious. Rapists and killers get to see their kids. The judiciary played into this narrative without doing any research. And while I was sick, took away my legal rights to my two youngest boys. I understand the courts were lied to. I wish I had been able to put up a more vigorous defense. My health is not good. I was in the hospital on the day of court. And it was kind of moot anyhow. I didn't have free legal counsel like my ex-wife. And after 2 years of just the constant propaganda to my children, they were turned against me. What can you do? I love my children very much. I hope to see them again one day if possible. And I hope they have wonderful lives, regardless. And I'm not even mad at my ex-wife, man. She just is who she is. We should never have been married. But I try not to talk bad about her, because I realize my kids will probably one day see these videos. And since she's all they got, I don't want to tear her down. I wish she loved our kids more than she hated me. If nothing else, I wish she hated me for a genuine reason. I'm not even sure she can articulate why she thinks I'm so loathsome. Neither here nor there. Not a fan of the courts, because the courts these days are beholden to narratives and cultural agendas rather than the truth, rather than protecting the unalienable rights of the citizenry. I'm just an old, poor, broke down man. Of course, I cannot put up the full legal defense that I would like. But I would argue that if the legal system does not protect people such as myself, the downtrodden, those who have fallen upon hard times, then it's not really a judicial system worth having unless you're wealthy or on the right side. For people like me, there's no justice. So both cops and the legal system are comprised of probably mostly apathetic individuals, but certainly some who are trying, to make a positive difference in this world. And I don't even have hard feelings towards the judge who, revoked my parental status, my two youngest sons. He was fed a bunch of lies, and he just went off what he had. Again, I should have put up a more vigorous defense. Not only was my health an issue and I was unable to, but also I guess it surprised me, because I thought for sure you would have to do something abusive or malevolent to your children to have your parental rights terminated. I mean, I thought you would have to, hit them or something. I don't know, man. I guess the only thing I can say is a guy that's not in my favor is that, in June of 2022, when my ex-wife abruptly stopped letting me see the children, and with no reason given, I stopped paying child support. Up until then, I had been Johnny on the spot on child support, although I do want to say in the last couple of months, I think I was $100 or so off. But in my defense, I didn't even have to pay that. Because of my health, my disability, my kids get a check. I paid extra, nearly half of my disability check every month, so that they could live in the comfort that they'd become accustomed to. And also so my ex-wife wouldn't have to struggle. But you're not going to let me see the kids, I'm not going to give you money. So yeah, not a fan of cops, not a fan of the legal system. I hope that one day, definitely by the time my sons have reached maturity, or middle age at least, I guess more realistic, that things will have changed, and that men will not be seen automatically as evil or the enemy. But until that, it is what it is. My boys, be careful who you marry or who you date. So yeah, that's all I gotta say.